Okay, here we go. That diminished sound. Hey, how you doing? It's Robin Nolan, and welcome Thad. Welcome everybody. This is a live lesson, which is going to be awesome. And if you're interested in getting good at Gypsy Jazz Guitar, right, then watch this. It's going to be a fun lesson. I'm going to show you something really simple that you can use in your soloing to help you with your soloing. When you join this broadcast, if you're in the future, I hope it's going well. Regardless, click the love heart button. If you're watching on YouTube, click that like button, okay? Subscribe to the channel and share this video. Share it with a friend and spread the love of this music we call Gypsy Jazz. So my name's Robin Nolan, and it's my mission, by the way, to help players, guitar players of all levels, get a taste of this music called Gypsy Jazz, which Django Reinhardt kind of pioneered and left us to get on with. And it's a great music to play, and it's my mission to simplify it and help you in all areas. So welcome to the show. We've also got a brand new free Gypsy Jazz Crash-Course, so gypsyjazzcrashcourse.com. It's a little course which I put together which can help you with the swing rhythm in this music, which we call lap hump. You'll learn a tune and you'll learn some licks to kind of give you confidence in your playing, your soloing, and your rhythm playing in this music. So it's a free course. And you can get it at gypsyjazzcrashcourse.com. There's a link just below this video, so go get that. Now, let's clear up the confusion surrounding the topic of diminished, right? Diminished harmony, diminished licks, diminished arpeggios, all that diminished stuff. How can we use it in Gypsy Jazz soloing or in any soloing to really sound cool? And how can we clear our mind and get crystal clear where to use diminished licks and where to use diminished harmony, okay? Before you even get to diminished harmony, when you're practicing soloing, right, the one thing you've got to do to get good is actually practice all this stuff, all these arpeggios, all these licks, all these scales, actually practice over music. You'll notice that all my lessons actually relate to music, so songs, tunes that we play in the repertoire, and that's the whole point. When you practice over tunes, you'll actually get good at playing over those tunes. If you get too far lost in arpeggio-land, if you get sucked up that kind of alley of burning over scales and arpeggios, then it's not really that useful when you get to a jam or a gig. No one's sitting around saying, hey, I know, let's play an A diminished scale, or let's play an A flat minor 6 arpeggio. No one says that, right? So practice over tunes, right? Do yourself a favor, practice over tunes. Diminished. Okay, step 1, identify diminished shapes, right? So when you're playing over an E7 chord, right, this is where you can use diminished. So you use diminished harmony in any shape or form over a dominant 7th chord, okay? So that's where you use it. You don't use it over minor, you don't use it over major, you use it over 7th chords, right? So if you're playing over E7, right, there's E7, right? This is where you're going to use diminished. So step 1, identify the diminished shapes which work for E7. Okay, let's do that. E7. Now, you got that chord E7 on the 7th fret. Then what you do is just get the diminished shape, right? Which there's E7, the diminished shape, right? That's the 6th fret. And that diminished shape is going to work over E7, okay? And whatever fancy lick or arpeggio comes from that, the first step is to actually locate physically, visually, see where that is for E7. So E7, E7, right? Every 3 frets. Right? So get used to that. So if E7's going on, right, you can get the diminished sound like this. Thanks for the love, guys. Thanks for the love. I really appreciate it. If you're watching on YouTube, click that like button, okay? And also share the video. Right, E7. So we know it's always going to be the 3rd fret, the 6th fret, the 9th fret, and the 12th fret, right? So that's the sound, that's the diminished sound which works over E7. So that's step one, that's easy. Step two, apply it to a tune, okay? So where is there an E7 in music? Let's look at the most simple piece that we play, minor swing. We've got A minor, right? Okay, we're not going to use it over that. We've got D minor, not going to use it over that. E7, that's where we're going to use the diminished, okay? So when you practice first, right? First, just don't practice an arpeggio or a lick. Just first get used to, just replace the E7 just with the, right? So your ear gets used to that diminished sound and your fingers get used to the areas where that diminished shape works, because that's going to come in handy when you do apply arpeggios, when you do apply licks, okay? So you go on a minor swing, right? So it's like A minor, play A minor stuff, D minor, play D minor stuff. Here's E7, use the diminish, A minor, play A minor stuff, D minor, play D minor stuff, A minor, play A minor stuff. Here's the E7. And back to the A minor. So first, just to recap, right, this is how we're going to use diminished in our solos. Step one, identify diminished shapes for the 7th chord. So if you're in E7, right, like in minor swing, you're going to get used to these areas. Right, I know, every time I look at the guitar, I know that that's going to be the right place. For E7. And once you get used to that, apply it to a song. So we're applying it to minor swing. So every time it goes to the E7 chord, we're going to play the diminished shape, okay? Now the next step is to actually try an arpeggio or a lick, right? Using that shape. So I'm going to show you two really simple ideas right now, okay? So when you get to that shape over E7, really simple arpeggio. Okay, let's take it down to the 3rd. Right, here's the basic arpeggio could be like this. Right, so. Right, that's a diminished arpeggio, right? And we're just basing it, right, on that shape, which we know works over E7. So then we're just taking the first note and going, oh, your diminished arpeggio. This is it. Okay, and that's what's going to sound over E7, right? You can go up 3 frets. And guess what? There you are at the next shape, up the neck. So you've already got used to those areas. And now you basically connect the areas with the arpeggio. So that's the next step, actually get an arpeggio. Now once you've got the arpeggio, now put it back to music. Don't get too far away from music. So in minor swing, A minor, A minor, D minor. Play your D minor stuff. Here we go, diminish. Right, so then you're back to the A minor. So immediately you're applying your fancy little arpeggio, right, which is basic, but you're applying it to music, so your ear and your body and your fingers get used to that moment when it goes to E7 that you use that thing. All right, so I hope you understand what I'm going on about. Just to recap, right, my name is Robin Nolan, and it's kind of my mission to help people enjoy this music called Gypsy Jazz, left by Django-style. And I like to do that by kind of simplifying it as much as possible, and that helps me too. And kind of taking all the scary stuff out of this music and basicing it down, right? Making it simple. So recap, we want to use diminished, the sound diminished in our solos. So what do? We know that diminished only works over dominant 7th chords, right? So over an E7, diminished will work. And what's step one? We locate the diminished shapes related to E7, and that is, right, we know it's on the 3rd, 6th, 9th, and 12th, right? So anytime you're playing E7, could be like, right, it might be in a ballad, right? You just know, just like you know E7, you know that the right diminished shapes, which are going to give you that kind of nice, edgy, diminished sound over the E7, right? So that's the first step. Locate the shapes. Once you've located the shapes and your fingers are used to that, then build a simple arpeggio. So, right? Really simple. And then, okay, once you've got that really basic, then apply it directly to music, actual music, a tune that you play, okay? And I'm using the example of minor swing. So A minor, that's where you play your A minor stuff. D minor, I reckon D minor stuff is a good idea. Here we go, E7. Back to your A minor stuff, right? So you see how we use the diminished in that bit of E7 in minor swing. Okay, here's another little lick you can try, okay? A very simple lick, right? You've got your E7, you've got E, you've got the diminished, which is not E diminished, by the way, it's just, it's that diminished, right? You've got this lick, here's a lick. A very simple diminished lick. Right, there's the shape, it comes out of the shape, you go. Lick. And then of course we slide it up every 3 frets. Right? The hand is already used to that, right? Right? So then you've actually got a lick you can use over diminished, and then step 3, apply it to music, okay? Say it's an anniversary song, you've got E7 for ages at the beginning. Right, so then you go. Right, there's the lick over E7. If you're using the arpeggio, see what I mean? So just to go over that 3 steps. Step number 1. Identify where the diminished shapes, these easy diminished shapes, right, which we should all know, where they lie in relation to the dominant 7th chord. So for E7, right, for in that key, which is usually going to be A minor, then we know it's on the 3rd. Let's change key, right? Say we're playing Dark Eyes, right? Well, you got an A7, so we know that that's the 2nd fret, right? Because that's step number 1. Identify the diminished shapes for the chord, right? For the A7, it's here. I'll show you. 2nd fret. Right? And then step 2, build an arpeggio out of it or a lick. Right? That kind of sound, right? Really basic. Or a lick. Right, and then apply it to music. Get used to applying it to music as soon as possible. So don't get stuck. We don't want to get stuck in arpeggio-land. Okay, so Dark Eyes. Da da dee da. Oh baby da ba ba. Okay, so in A7. Da da. Right, so you've applied it to those bars where the A7 is. Okay, so okay, everybody getting that? I hope so. So just to recap, right, we want to get that diminished sound in our solos. For a start, when you practice soloing, whichever way it is, the way to get good is actually to practice over the tunes you play. So don't get stuck in arpeggio land or lick land or sitting there for hours going up and down scales. Better, right, choose the tunes that you know and start to play over and over with the tunes. And even better, get a metronome, right? And even better than a backing track is to kind of, right? So you've got the, say it's minor swing. 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3. So it's A minor, right? You're going to practice soloing, right? And you're going to use that diminished idea. You want to learn it. So here we go. Right, A minor, this is minor swing. Now up to D minor, right, we're practicing minor swing, right, A minor, right, now we're going to come into the E7, here we go, arpeggio. Right, always applying it to music, A minor, okay, just be patient, wait for the E7, it's coming up now, let's just use the shape. To D minor, right? This is minor swing, right? D minor goes back to A minor. This is a piece called minor swing. E7, here's the harmony. See what I mean? So apply it as soon as you're comfortable with where that shape is for the dominant 7th chord, then start to apply it to music. So a piece that you know. If you're doing it on Sweet Georgia Brown is another good example. This is a different vibe because we've got, so it's like dominant 7th chord, A7, D7. So if we want to apply diminished harmony to this sound, to this song, sorry, Sweet Georgia Brown, then E7, right? We know we've got, right? So whatever lick or arpeggio is going to stem from this shape, literally from this note, or from that note, or that note, or that note, right? So it could be the arpeggio, even that, only that bit of the arpeggio, okay? When it goes to A7 in Sweet Georgia Brown, this is pretty sweet because on the guitar we can just go drop the diminished shape of fret for A7, and when it goes to D7, we can actually drop it again, which is really handy, right? If you're playing piano, it's all kind of, it's a pain in the ass. You got to get loads of black notes and crunchy notes, and you get your fingers tied in a knot. Sweet Georgia Brown, using diminished, right? Right? A7, that's easy, and again, D7, right, so for E7, we know we've got diminished here, A7, luckily for us guitarists, we can just flatten it 1, and then we've got A7, there's the shape that applies to the dominant 7th, the diminished shape, right, and then when it goes to D7, again, flatten it, right? So again, get this idea in your mind, in your ears, in your heart, in your body, in your fingers, everywhere you can, right? And the guitar, of course. Use the metronome and think, okay, I'm going to try and see what it's like to hear diminished, right, over Sweet Georgia Brown. And I'm not going to think, oh, you start a fret up from the thing and you do this complicated arpeggio that I never got around to learning. You're not actually going to do that. You're going to start with basics. 2, 3, E7, E7, A7, right? Simple as that. Get used to that sound. A7, D7, D7, D7. Right? See what I mean? Again, E7, E7, A7. Again. And you kind of keep going on like that, and you're trying to absorb, do you know what I mean? You're trying to absorb the diminished sound into your fingers, into your eyes, into your body, your heart, and not just look at it like, I think a lot of people get confused. I've been confused with diminished, and you think, yeah, it's like you go up a fret, then you can do the arpeggio over that chord. Get it down to basics, okay? So remember this. I wrote some notes even here to remind myself, but step 1, when you're using diminished over in your solos, and you can only use them on dominant 7th chords, right, as well as diminished chords, of course. locate the diminished shape which relates to the dominant 7th chord, right? So if you use an E7, it's always going to be from the 3rd fret, right? E7 is the 3rd fret, right? A7 is the 2nd fret. D7 is the 1st fret. So first of all, get the shapes under your fingers, okay? And then whatever lick or fancy arpeggio, you base from that shape, okay? And you memorize that shape by going around and practicing through music. Don't forget, you can get a free Gypsy Jazz Crash-Course. If you want more help with this music, I've put this nice little package together. It's a little free Gypsy Jazz Crash-Course, and you can get it at gypsyjazzcrashcourse.com. Okay, and it's like a few little video lessons I put together to really help you give some confidence in the La Pompe kind of swing rhythm, right? That kind of rhythm. And I've also put some lessons together to help you with soloing, okay? To give you some confidence in that soloing so you can start to kind of express yourself in this music. So it's a really cool little course. You'll get it at gypsyjazzcrashcourse.com, and it's free, right? It's totally free. I've got a comment. There's been lots of comments here, but I'm going to read one out. Sean says, whether it's Django or Randy Rhoads or Yngwie, don't you love those examples? Randy Rhoads. Who doesn't like Randy Rhoads? He was the guy that played with Ozzy Osbourne, an amazing guitarist. Yngwie, say no more. I love Diminished Anything. Thanks, Robin. Good stuff here for sure. That's right. We love that diminished sound, okay? So it really makes sense to understand whatever level you're at, you can use diminished really simply. That's the other note I had here. Also, using diminished does not mean you have to shred, right? Like Yngwie or Randy. We can use diminished really simply, right? So even if it's going, you don't have to go. We could just go. Play the chord. If we play the right chord at the right time, it can really have that same power as shredding, right? One tip when you're using a chord, if you're going to use a chord, you can use a fret below each chord. Oh, I love this comment. Nick says George Harrison referred to diminished chords as naughty chords. That's so great. And I was lucky enough to get to know George before he passed away. And that is so true. And that is so George. And they are so naughty, these chords. It's a great description. Thanks for that, Nick. When you play the diminished chord, okay, always know that you can play a fret below it. Right? If you play a fret below it, it always sounds good. So play a fret below it, it sounds good. Just a little tip. I'm going to get off, okay? So I'm going to leave you with that. And I hope you have a beautiful day. Lots of love from the Nolan camp. And just to recap what's been going on in this lesson. My name's Robin Nolan, and it's my mission to help you, right, enjoy this beautiful music which Django left us, which people call Gypsy Jazz, whatever it's called, doesn't matter. It's up to us to take it somewhere else. And we're all doing it in our own little way, okay? So, diminished, right? People talk about diminished arpeggios, diminished, how to solo with diminished. This is how you do it. Step 1, identify the diminished shape which relates to a dominant 7th chord, because you only use diminished over the 7th chord. So if it's A7, right, you just memorize that it goes, right, that's the diminished shape. If it's E7, you know that the diminished shape is, and then you know that the diminished shape slides up and down every 3 frets, which is really lucky for guitarists because piano players have to actually fret, on the piano, the diminished shapes, and it's not that easy. So it's really easy for us. So locate where it is, and then number 2, immediately put that shape into music. Practice soloing over tunes, and then you'll get better at tunes. Surprise, surprise. Practice only arpeggios. You'll get great at arpeggios, but you won't know where to put them, or you won't actually sound that musical. So just save your time. Practice over your music. So put those shapes over the 7th chords you're practicing over. only just use the shape. Step 3, then build a little simple, build as simple as you like little arpeggio out of each shape and practice that to music, or a simple lick like this. Right? A little simple diminished lick, and then actually use that every time an E7 comes up in the tune you're practicing it over. That's it. Grab the crash course. It's great. It'll help you playing. It'll give you that confidence in this music. Have a beautiful day. Share this video, okay? So share it with your friends. Share the love of this music. Click the love, click the like in YouTube, subscribe to the channel, and lots of love. I wish you a beautiful day.